Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Muphidaht. So today's video is going to be a start of a series on my channel. This is basically for those who already know how to do their makeup. They just want to get better, they want to upgrade. So yeah, this is going to be the first episode of this series. I'm really excited about it. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to avoid cakey makeup. If you want to see how this video goes down, carry on watching and let's get right into it. Starting off, you want to make sure you're doing your skincare. I cannot tell you how important it is to moisturize your skin before doing your makeup. It's going to help regardless of your skin type. Basically, oily skin, if your skin is not well hydrated or moisturized, you're going to have your skin overcompensating with oil, so your makeup is going to look oily, it's going to break apart and melt off your face. If you have dry skin, you need to moisturize your skin because you don't want your makeup to crack on your skin, look patchy and just not great. So make sure that you're doing your skincare before you do your makeup. So I'm going to start off with my basic skincare products. I like to use a hydrating essence. This is from CosRx. You don't necessarily have to use the same products that I am using. See how healthy my skin already looks. It looks really good, glowy, just from using hydrating products. Next step is moisturizer. This is my go-to moisturizer. This is the Liquid Gold by Stratia. There's a new packaging. It's now called Lipid Gold, so I'm excited about that. So I'm just putting on some moisturizer. So now that the face is moisturized, you're going to allow it to set, to dry down. So I'm going to give my face 5 to 10 minutes to just absorb all the goodness we just put on it. It's storming outside. Now that the face is prepped for makeup, I went ahead to do my eyebrows off camera. The next step is to use the appropriate primer for your skin type. Now I've been switching between hydrating and mattifying primers just because I have the luxury to. In reality, you need to use something that is good for your skin type. I have oily combination skin, so I should be using mattifying oil controlling primers. This one is from Milk. This is the Milk Pore Eclipse mattifying primer, which I love. There are so many hydrating primers on the market as well. If you just go into Google and type in hydrating makeup primers, you'd find a lot of them. The ones that I've used are the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, the e.l.f. Liquid Putty Primer. Those are amazing. So you want to make sure that you're using the appropriate primer for your skin. So I'm going to go ahead and apply primer. Next step is foundation. Of course, I'm going into my NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. You should use a foundation that is great for your skin type. This from NARS I think would work for all skin types, but if you're using a good primer, like a primer for your skin type and moisturizing your skin appropriately, I think you can go ahead and use any foundation. That's in my opinion. Usually I would go ahead and pump this on my skin, this being an actual tutorial where I'm going to show you how to avoid cakey makeup. You want to make sure you're putting the foundation on the back of your hand. I'm using 3 pumps because this foundation, the pump is weird. Generally I'll use 3 pumps of this foundation, which is this much. So first of all, you don't want to use a lot of foundation on your skin. You're going to use a brush and you're going to spread this out on your skin evenly, just like this. You don't want to drip the foundation on your skin. You want to avoid that. That's for aesthetics and content creation, but in reality you need to put the foundation on the back of your hand or like the makeup palettes and apply it on your skin in a uniform manner. To blend out your foundation, you can either use a sponge or a brush. I like to use both and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. This brush is from JSOC. I would link it down below. It's an amazing brush set. Make sure that you're not swirling. If you swirl like this, the product kind of moves off the skin, so you make sure that you are patting so that you spread the products evenly and avoid patchy makeup. Personally, when I apply with a brush, I like to go in with a damp sponge, which means completely saturate it with water, squeeze out every single drop of it, and then squeeze it in a tissue to take off any excess water. So I go in with the back of the sponge and I just go all over my face just like so to pick up any excess product. This is the excess. If you're using just a sponge to blend out your foundation, when you apply the foundation initially, you want to go in with tissue and then squeeze out any excess foundation in it, and then go ahead and go all over the face with the sponge to pick up any excess foundation. I hope that makes sense. So with concealer, I generally like to use 2 concealers, and I get a lot of comments, people asking me if my concealer isn't too much for me. It's not. It might be for some people, but I blend it out in a way that doesn't make it appear cakey, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. I go in with my first concealer and I'm going to apply that under my eyes, which is here, and then here. I typically leave space in between. You can just use one concealer by applying like this. I'm going to allow my concealer to sit because when it sits, it just makes it tackier, and blending it out gives the most flawless finish. I'm going in with my stick foundation from Huda and I'm going to apply that. I typically like to blend out my cream contour with a brush, so I'm going to do that. Again, I don't swirl or swipe, I just pat it. So I'm just going to start off here. By patting in this motion, the product just stays exactly where you put it and just spreads out evenly so it doesn't look patchy or goes all over the place. So as you can see, it's literally sitting where I applied it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep patting that into my skin. My forehead, I typically like to blend it up into my hairline so there's no harsh lines. And then for my jawline, I typically just like to blend it upwards by using the same patting motion. As you can see, it just blends out seamlessly. Again, I'm using my J-Soft brush. Now the next step is to blend out the highlighter. I typically like to use a brush to do this step. If you want to use a sponge, you would do the same technique that I showed you. You blend out first, make sure it's evenly spread out and blend it out. Then you squeeze in the excess into a tissue paper and then go back in with your sponge to pick up any excess product. I'm going in with another J-Soft brush. We're going to start off with blending out what's on the chin. Again, you want to do patting motions, spreads out evenly. If you want a lot of coverage, I always suggest that you should use a brush to blend out your product. The brush just gives a lot of control and it doesn't take away a lot of the product. A lot of control and a lot of coverage. So I'm going to start off with under my eyes. I typically just would blend this out. As you can see, the product is still where I put it. So the reason why I leave space in between here is that I can just diffuse the concealer there. If you want to apply more concealer, by all means go ahead and do that. If you want to apply less concealer, go ahead and do that. Just use these tips as and when they work for you. Going in with my brush to blend out my contour. So if you used your brush to blend out, this is when you're going in with your sponge and you're going to tap on everywhere that you applied concealer. So I'm going on to my forehead first, picking up any excess product, and then to the bridge of my nose. You want to squeeze it, pinch it, so you don't mess up the sculpt that you have created. When you're using the sponge, you want to be precise with how you hold the sponge so you don't mess up the sculpt that you have created. So you find that I'm pinching it and using the tip of the sponge as opposed to blending out the foundation where you didn't need to be precise about anything. You just use the butt of the sponge. So now we're going to talk about how to deal with harsh lines. As you can see, this is super harsh. So you want to just go back in with your contour brush, no extra product, and you're going to pat on the harsh lines. When I'm talking about harsh lines, I mean where the product meets each other. This is a harsh line. So what you want to do is to just tap the brush on the harsh line, not in the product, just in between where they meet. Just pat here and you're gonna have it looking like this instead of this. I'm going to go over the forehead, chin. So it should look something like this. So we're going to use cream blush. I'm using my e.l.f. cream blush in the shade Very Well. You want to apply that on the apples of your cheeks, in between the contour and the highlights right here, and you want to just bring it upwards just like so. To blend that out as well, I'm going in with my blush brush. I'm going to tap on it just like so. Again, patting motions. So if your makeup ends up looking crazy like this, I know that I applied way too much blush. I'm going to show you guys how to fix it. This is when I just go in with a second concealer. You don't need to do this. You can just go back in with your contour brush to fix that. I'm going in with a second concealer. And I'm going in with my sponge. I'm going to hold it just like so, and I'm going to blend this out and make sure that it is exactly where I put it. Like I said, sponges tend to diffuse the product everywhere else. So you want to pinch it, making sure that it stays exactly where it is, and you're going to blend it out like this. Like this. What you want to do is to use what's left on to go in between the blush and the highlight. Pat this in like so, so it becomes softer on the side. Just like this. So you want to go back in with your contour brush. We're going to blend out any harsh lines. Again, patting with no extra products, just patting. Going with the foundation brush, and just wherever the blush might have gone overboard, you just want to pat that area down. If you use a sponge to do all of this, squeeze it, and also you want to be mindful of the sides that you're using on the sponge. I kept using one side. Now this side doesn't have a lot of products on it, so that's what I'm going to use to blend out any harsh lines before I go ahead and set my makeup. Makeup to avoid cakey makeup. First off, before you set, you need to iron out any creases and then go in with a pressed powder. I'm going to use my Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder in the shade 312 Golden, and powder puff. Tap off any excesses, and I'm going to push that under my eye just to set that concealer down. And then I'm going in with my Huda loose powder. You don't have to use a pressed powder to set your under eye. If you have loose powder, just go in with your powder puff. Tap off any excess at the back of the hand. It should be evenly spread on the powder puff, and you're going to use that to set the under eye. And I'm going to go ahead and push that everywhere else. Now, the next step after setting the concealer is to go ahead and set the contour or bronzer with a powder bronzer. So I'm going in with my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. This is my favorite bronzer. I typically like to use the same brush that I use to blend out my contour or bronzer to apply my powder bronzer. And I'm going to tap into my powder bronzer, tap off any excesses, and I'm going straight into set. Push the product into the bronzer just to set it down. Make sure that you're doing patting motions, literally just patting that down. And then don't forget to set the chin and jawline area. Now the next step is to use a powder that is close to your skin tone to set the rest of your face. Going to use my powder brush and my Sephora Micro Smooth powder. I'm going to push that everywhere else on my face. If you decide to bake, I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to go into with a powder puff, put the powder on it. This time just tap off to smoothing the powder on the puff. Going to put it on your skin, so literally, so this time we're not setting, we're leaving the powder on the skin. So you're going to leave it on the skin, not push it into the skin. So you're going to leave this for as long as you want. I typically leave it on while I do my eye makeup. So now to blend the powder under the eye skin, you want to go in with a brush. This is my Real Techniques setting brush. I'm just going to blend this in with like circular motions. Not very hard, just hold the brush. Be very light-handed with the brush. So it's going to look something like this. This is typically where you apply your powder blush. If you didn't apply liquid blush, that's fine, but this is where I would suggest you apply your powder blush. I'm using the NYX Buttermelt blush. I literally just got this and I'm so happy about it. I'm gonna go into my blush brush. You want to put it in between this to right here. Ooh, this is so pigmented, oh my god. This is so pigmented. I'm gonna go into my powder brush and just blend this in. With highlighter, I'm using this one from Juvia's Place. This is the Heroin Glow 2 by Juvia's Place. It looks like this. I'm gonna go in with a fluffy brush just like this. Put it into the product, tap off any excesses, and then put that right on top of the cheekbone, so right here. And you want to just blend it in circular motions and be very light-handed with your brush. So it should look something like this. It's not cakey and have like a streak on it. I'm literally just, and then yeah, so this is the finished look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really excited about this series and I'm so excited for you guys to see it and get a lot of tips from it. Don't forget to like this video and let me know what you think down below. subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care, guys.